Hello, future chemists. Welcome to an exciting journey into the world of alkanes, the simplest yet most fundamental organic compounds. Today, we are diving deep into preparation of alkanes, how we make these essential molecules in the lab and industry. We'll start with the basics, then gradually build up our knowledge, exploring advanced reactions, mechanisms, and competitive exam insights. Get ready to unlock the secrets of alkane synthesis. Ready to discover how we can create these foundational molecules? Let's begin with some straightforward and common methods for preparing alkanes. Alkanes are saturated hydrocarbons, meaning they only contain single bonds. They form the backbone of organic chemistry. One of the simplest ways to make them is through hydrogenation. Imagine taking an unsaturated hydrocarbon, like an alkene or alkyne, which has double or triple bonds, and simply adding hydrogen to it. This process, called hydrogenation, uses catalysts like nickel, platinum, or palladium. For instance, if you take ethene, which has a double bond, and react it with hydrogen over a nickel catalyst with some heat, you get ethane, a fully saturated alkane. It's like filling up all the available spots with hydrogen atoms. Next up, we have the Wurtz reaction, a classic method for preparing symmetrical alkanes. Picture this: you take two identical alkyl halide molecules, like methyl bromide, and react them with sodium metal in a dry ether solvent. The two alkyl groups then couple together, forming a new, longer alkane chain, and the sodium reacts with the halogen. So, two methyl bromides would join to form ethane. The dry ether is crucial here, as sodium is highly reactive with water. Finally, for preparing alkanes with fewer carbons, we have decarboxylation. This involves heating a sodium salt of a carboxylic acid with soda lime, a mixture of sodium hydroxide and calcium oxide. This reaction removes a carbon dioxide molecule, leaving behind an alkane with one less carbon than the original acid. For example, sodium ethanoate yields methane. Now, let's test your understanding with a few quick questions. First, what alkane is produced when propene undergoes hydrogenation with a nickel catalyst? Second, if you want to make ethane using the Wurtz reaction, what alkyl halide would you start with? And finally, during the decarboxylation of sodium ethanoate, what gas is released and what alkane is formed? Pause, think, and answer. Great job on the basics. Now, let's deepen our understanding of alkane preparation, exploring more methods and the nuances of the reactions we've already touched upon. Let's revisit catalytic hydrogenation. Platinum and palladium catalysts are more reactive than nickel, allowing reactions to occur at milder conditions. The mechanism involves both hydrogen and the unsaturated compound adsorbing onto the catalyst surface, where hydrogen atoms then add to the multiple bond, typically from the same phase A, SYN addition. This process is vital in industries like the food sector, for example, in hardening vegetable oils. The Wurtz reaction, while useful, has a key limitation: trying to make an unsymmetrical alkane, like propane, will lead to a mixture of three different alkanes, making separation very difficult. The mechanism is often proposed to involve free radical intermediates, where sodium donates an electron to form an alkyl radical, which then couples. Beyond the soda-lime method, Kolbe's electrolytic method offers another way to decarboxylate carboxylic acids. Here, you electrolyze a concentrated solution of a sodium or potassium salt of a carboxylic acid. At the anode, the carboxylate ion loses an electron, forms a radical, releases carbon dioxide, and the resulting alkyl radicals then couple to form a symmetrical alkane. This means you get an alkane with double the number of carbons in the alkyl part of your starting acid. For instance, sodium acetate yields ethane. Grignard reagents, formed from alkyl halides and magnesium, are incredibly versatile. They react with any proton source, like water or alcohol, to produce an alkane. This is a very clean way to get an alkane with a specific carbon count, especially methane from methyl magnesium halide. Finally, we can prepare alkanes by reducing alkyl halides. This involves replacing the halogen atom with a hydrogen atom. Various reducing agents can be used. Zinc and hydrochloric acid are common for primary and secondary alkyl halides. Lithium aluminum hydride, a very strong reducing agent, can reduce all types of alkyl halides, while sodium borohydride is milder. Even red phosphorus and hydroiodic acid can be used for a robust reduction. For example, ethyl chloride reacts with zinc and HCl to yield ethane. Each method offers specific advantages depending on the desired alkane and the functional groups present in the molecule. Time to challenge yourselves with medium-level questions. Firstly, why is the Wurtz reaction generally not suitable for preparing propane? Secondly, describe the anode and cathode reactions for coal-based electrolytic synthesis of N-butane. Thirdly, how would you synthesize methane using a Grignard reagent? Fourth, compare the reducing power of Lyell and NaBH for alkyl halides. And lastly, what is the stereochemical outcome of catalytic hydrogenation? Take your time to formulate comprehensive answers. Excellent work! Now, let's elevate our understanding even further. We'll delve into the intricate mechanisms, specific reagents, and theoretical connections that are crucial for G advanced. In catalytic hydrogenation, the *SYN addition of hydrogen is a key stereochemical outcome, where both hydrogen atoms add to the same face of the multiple bond. This is due to the surface chemistry of heterogeneous catalysts like Raney nickel, a highly active, porous form of nickel. The Wurtz reaction, while useful, has mechanistic complexities and significant side reactions. Beyond the coupling of alkyl radicals, elimination can occur, especially with bulkier alkyl halides or at higher temperatures, leading to unwanted alkene formation. This competition reduces the yield of the desired alkane and highlights the limitations of the Wurtz reaction for complex synthesis. Coal-based electrolytic method, while generating symmetrical alkanes, has specific limitations. It cannot produce methane because the methyl radical would dimease to ethane, not form methane. Furthermore, side products like alkenes can arise from radical disproportionation. To overcome the Wurtz limitation for unsymmetrical alkanes, we turn to the Cory-House synthesis, utilizing Gilman reagents or lithium dialkyl cuprates. These organometallic compounds react with alkyl halides in an SN2-like fashion, forming a precise RR bond without a mixture of products. This method is a powerful tool for constructing specific alkane architectures. Finally, let's analyze the reduction of carbonyl compounds to alkanes using Clemmensen and Wolff-Kishner reductions. Clemmensen reduction employs zinc amalgam and concentrated hydrochloric acid under acidic conditions. It's suitable for acid-stable aldehydes and ketones. In contrast, Wolff-Kishner reduction uses hydrazine and a strong base like KOH in a high-boiling solvent, operating under basic conditions. This makes it ideal for base-stable substrates. Understanding their distinct conditions and mechanisms is vital for selecting the appropriate method based on the sensitivity of other functional groups present in the molecule. Both convert AC is equal to O2ACH group, but their scope differs significantly. Now, for some hard-hitting questions. First, why is the Wurtz reaction unsuitable for N-pentane, and what alternative would work? Second, detail the complete mechanism for coal-based synthesis of ethane. Third, how does Cory-House overcome Wurtz limitations? Fourth, differentiate Clemmensen and Wolff-Kishner reductions. Fifth, predict products and justify for 2-bromopropane with sodium. Sixth, synthesize 2,3-dimethylbutane via both Wurtz and Cory-House. Lastly, what's CO's specific role in soda-lime decarboxylation? Good luck! You've tackled the tough questions. Now, prepare for the ultimate challenge, the hardest level. We'll explore intricate mechanisms, competitive exam strategies, and the broader impact of these reactions in organic synthesis and industrial applications. At this advanced level, understanding heterogeneous catalytic hydrogenation goes beyond mere reaction. We delve into the Langmuir-Hinshelwood and L-Iridial mechanisms, describing how reactants adsorb, react on the surface, and desorb. Catalyst poisoning, where impurities like sulfur block active sites, is a critical industrial concern. Chemoselectivity, the ability of a catalyst to selectively reduce one functional group over others, is also paramount in complex synthesis. Organometallic reagents like Grignard and organolithium compounds are incredibly strong bases and nucleophiles. Gilman reagents, lithium dialkyl cuprates, are milder but uniquely useful for forming specific unsymmetrical C-to-C bonds through a mechanism likely involving oxidative addition and reductive elimination. Let's explore radical decarboxylation further. Beyond Kolbe's, the Hunsdecker reaction converts silver carboxylates to alkyl bromides via radical intermediates, which can then be reduced to alkanes. The Barton decarboxylation offers a highly versatile radical pathway to convert carboxylic acids to alkanes, often under mild conditions, through N-hydroxy-2-thiopyridine esters. Reductive dehalogenation, particularly with tributyltin hydride, is a powerful radical chain reaction for converting alkyl halides to alkanes. When reducing carbonyls, the choice between Clemmensen and Wolff-Kishner is dictated by acid or base sensitivity of other functional groups, with each having distinct mechanistic pathways involving either carbanionic species on a metal surface or a hydrazone intermediate respectively. Retrosynthetic analysis is key to designing complex syntheses. For alkanes, we learn to disconnect C-to-C bonds, tracing back to alkyl halides for Wurtz or Corey-House, or carboxylates for Kolbe. CH disconnections lead us to decarboxylation, Grignard reactions, or various reduction methods. Understanding the stereochemical implications is also vital. While simple alkane formation rarely introduces new chiral centers, if a chiral precursor is used, the reaction mechanism, example SN to like steps in Corey-House, can dictate the stereochemical outcome. Although asymmetric hydrogenation is beyond basic G, recognizing when stereoisomers might form is crucial for advanced problems. In summary, the preparation of alkanes spans a spectrum of reactions, from simple hydrogenation to complex organometallic and radical pathways. Each method has its unique scope, limitations, and mechanistic intricacies. Mastering these allows chemists to precisely construct desired alkane structures, forming the foundation for synthesizing pharmaceuticals, polymers, and advanced materials. These fundamental reactions are not just theoretical concepts but are applied daily in industrial processes and cutting-edge research, demonstrating their enduring legacy and impact on modern chemistry and engineering. Understanding them deeply will serve you well in competitive exams and beyond. Now, for the ultimate test of your understanding. Here are the first 5 challenging questions. Design a synthetic route for 3-methylpentane using Corey-House synthesis. Discuss the Langmuir-Hinshelwood mechanism for hydrogenation. Explain why Kolbe's isn't suitable for methane and predict products from a mixture. Compare Clemmensen and Wolff-Kishner mechanisms and applications. And propose a method to synthesize N-hexane from ethanol. Take your time, these require detailed thought and comprehensive answers. Let's continue with the remaining 5 questions to solidify your expertise. Identify an alkyl halide that forms 2,3-dimethylbutane via Wurtz reaction and explain. Synthesize 2,3-dimethylbutane from 2-bromopropane using an alternative to Wurtz. Explain catalyst poisoning in hydrogenation with an example. Describe the advantages of Gilman reagents over Grignard for unsymmetrical alkanes. And finally, use retrosynthetic analysis to propose 2 routes for 2,2,3,3-tetramethylbutane. These questions will push your analytical and problem-solving skills to the limit. You've completed an exhaustive exploration into the preparation of alkanes. From foundational reactions to advanced mechanisms and synthetic strategies, you've gained invaluable insights. To continue your learning journey and access more such in-depth content for G Advanced, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for regular updates and expert guidance. Keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing your boundaries.